Hey, hello everybody in helping the world sleep better. I'm Emma Woolrich and tonight I'm coming to you live from our Facebook group because YouTube is just not streaming live, and that's okay. We just go through anywhere that we need to bring everybody the hints and tips that we need in these challenging times whilst we're all around the world in lockdown through coronavirus. And what I wanted to come to all of you today around was for those of us who, for whatever reason, we find that we are having to manage our sleep pattern in a time of day when normally the body wouldn't want to go to sleep. So I'm reaching out to all of those people right now who work permanent nights, who work split shifts patterns where you're going between maybe a 6 a.m. to a 2 p.m. and then you're moving on to an evening shift, maybe you're doing afternoons and then you're going on to nights and then you're constantly recycling. Or you're in an environment right now where no matter what you do, you're finding that you can sleep during the day and then you're awake all night and you're trying to stop that pattern and you're trying to get back into when you really think you should be asleep. So this was in response to a wonderful member, a new member in our new group that actually said that their sleep pattern, hi there, whoever's joined, that their sleep pattern was appalling because they're a shift worker. So directly in answer to that, I thought the 15 minutes today would be all about some hints and tips for people in our community, people that you know who are shift workers. Hi, whoever's joining us, say hello and I can acknowledge you. And so the first thing I want to go into is those people who the work pattern that they're in means that they have to go to sleep during the day. Hi, Denise, welcome. Those people who have to go to sleep during the day because they're working at night. Now, when I say working at night, I mean that generally when everybody else is asleep and we have nighttime outside, that you're actually having to completely combat what your body is and its system is naturally trying to do. Hey, Loretta, which is actually to fight against the sleep pattern, that natural sleep inducer, which is responding to daylight and responding to lack of daylight. We all know that the more daylight that we have in our environment, and this is what we encourage people to do who have jet lag, not that many of us are going to be having that at the moment, but anyone who has jet lag, the first thing that everybody recommends to do is to go outside and acclimatize your body, your natural biorhythms to the light environment that you are in, so that your body's circadian rhythm can actually get back on the wavelength of where you are in the world. And naturally that also goes with when you eat and when you sleep. So if we think about people who are in natural daylight the whole year through nearly, so people who are in the northern hemisphere, very northern hemisphere, and they've got months and months and months of daylight. And how did they acclimatize to actually achieving a good sleep pattern? And what does a good sleep pattern look like for them? Well, I want to take a complete step back, and I want everybody here who's experienced this, because we all have done this at some point in our lives, when there's been a change in the clocks, when the clocks have gone forward or back, or when you've experienced a change in the actual hour pattern for you, the 24-hour clock, when you've gone across time zones. And how have you responded to that? What has helped you the best? Now, there's a number of different things that you can do here. And that is exactly what I want to recommend to everybody who's a shift worker. You are trying to create a sleep routine that is constantly at odds with what your body is going to do. Constantly. So what I want to ask you to do is over the next week, record the general time that you start to feel sleepy. And when I mean start to feel sleepy, I mean you've had your evening meal, you've maybe sat in front of the TV for a bit, and obviously if you're working shifts, that's still an evening meal for you, yeah? So whenever you've had your evening meal, that should generally be at least 3 or 4 hours before you go to sleep, so that you've got adequate time for your body to do its natural digestion process before you actually then invite your body to go into a sleep pattern. So for everybody who's a shift worker right now, ask yourself this: when do I generally have my evening meal before I go to bed? Is it about 2 or 3 hours before I go to bed, or is it just before I go to sleep? So am I coming in from work, eating, and then going to sleep? What is it? What's your natural pattern that you do around your evening meal? That's the first thing. The second thing is when you actually wake up, whether you're waking up and it's nighttime outside, but for you it's the start of your day, what's the first thing that you do? Is it to get up and switch your lights on and allow your body to realize it's time to wake up? And again, this is the same for all of us when we go into the winter period, like the hibernation time of the year. As the nights draw in, it's harder and harder for people to get up when they need to go to work, because daylight just doesn't start for a fair few hours. Whereas it's really easy for people to wake up if there is natural light coming in through the window. Now, I am not affiliated with any of these products in any way, shape or form, but you can purchase lights, like your alarm clock light. You can purchase lights that actually gradually make the room brighter a couple of hours before you actually need to wake up. So again, shift workers thinking about how is light, manufactured or natural, playing a part in either your poor sleep routine or your good sleep routine. Thinking about these two things, what's going on in our body, how we digest that food. Hey Jim, how we digest that food in our body before we go to sleep, and how we are showing our body naturally or manufactured. You'll notice in the room around me, I have deliberately blocked out natural light. I can make this room lighter or darker because we're always having a conversation every day around a sleep routine. The last thing I want is for you to see harsh daylight behind me. So I've created ambient lighting to support what we all want to experience here, which is a better night's sleep. So thinking about your setup for going to sleep, when you're coming in from your shift, the first thing I want you to think about and do for the next week, every day, is to create the ambience in your bedroom for that sleep routine. Day one was the breathing to actually help your body slow down. Regardless of what's going on outside, regardless of whether it's daylight or nighttime, you can create an artificial ambience in your bedroom that supports your body being almost fooled, if you like, that it is time to go to sleep. And we do this with small toddlers. Again, they don't want to sleep, but if you create the right environment, music, oils being burned maybe, the natural light being removed and actually bringing in an ambient lighting. Temperature of your bedroom is absolutely crucial. Too hot, you can't sleep. Too cold, you can't sleep. You will know, as I'm asking all of these questions, which of these things are important to you. Some people need to have a window open all night. Some people need to feel fresh air flowing across them. Other people need to be under a really, really heavy duvet or doona, depending on where you are in the world, whatever you call it. Some people need to have one pillow. Some people need to have two. Some people need to have no noise. Some people need to have that white noise in the background, or that static, or have their headphones in and actually going to sleep listening to music or a very specific frequency. So let's go through all of these and let's see if we can find the right ambient temperature, right ambient daylight, nightlight mood in the bedroom. If we can find the right time for that evening meal, at least 2 to 3 hours before you go to sleep, not just before you go to sleep. And also on waking up, how are we encouraging our body that it is time to wake up? Either through quickly putting a light on and jumping out of bed, or through artificial means, which is allowing your body to experience daylight naturally rising in the room through one of those alarm clocks or lights that brings in daylight over a period of time. The very final thing that I want to bring in, and again, I'm not a medical practitioner, but this I know helps a lot of people when we get into the really dark periods, where it's nighttime a lot, is actually having the artificial light that brings in natural daylight. And we know it as the seasonal associated disorder. So thinking about all of these, we're still working on the body and the mind being in sync. The mind knows I have to work and it's nighttime and everybody else is going to sleep, versus I know that my body believes it's 2 o'clock in the morning, but actually where I am in the world, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. So it's exactly the same thing that we're doing. We're getting our own biorhythms into a routine where the body and the mind are in sync. We're creating the right environment to promote a good night's sleep and to enable us to wake up the next morning calm, energized and relaxed. I would love to hear from all of you who joined and then had to leave. I would love to hear from all of you live here, Denise, Loretta, Jim, and also for everybody who is going to be watching this afterwards, #replay. How has this helped you? And specifically for shift workers and for those who are in our medical profession right now, thank goodness, doing professional shifts for us. And for all of you who are doing shifts in any profession all over the world, thank you for the essential work that you are continuing to do to make sure we have water, electricity, food, clean places to go at the moment, as well as our hospitals and our doctors. So thank you very much, and I'll be back again tomorrow for helping the world sleep better, one sleep at a time. Until then, bye.